building right now.
Cool. Well, thanks for everybody coming. I'm going to close the door. Oh, come on.
I'm not going to be objecting or anything. Or
Twice. Wow. Huh?
Okay, guys, I cannot stress to you enough. This is an interactive class. What does that mean? Yes, I'm going to talk, but I need you guys to talk as well. I need you to interact. I need you to ask questions. I need you to debate, whatever it is. We are here to interact and just kind of be together and really formulate a plan and get you guys from here to here quickly. So objections, conversion, and communication. Who knows what that really means? Savannah?
Well, I think dealing with any kind of client, you're going to have objections, and it's your job to help them over those objections.
Give me an idea of what an objection, like one objection that you think might pop up in a transaction.
Well, I think like getting a buyer client,
Mm-hmm.
they'll have objections to why they should choose you.
That's a good one. Yeah. Why you versus the other 60,000 agents in town, right? Okay. All right. Markel, what do you think might be an objection or a...
Well, I had one that just texted me.
Uh-huh.
Like, I love the house, but not the price.
Uh-huh.
So being able to tell them kind of what we can do to make it better, whether it's the seller paying for the closing costs, so it's the same price, but you're not having to pay the closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I feel like, would probably be a big one.
Yeah, that's a way. But there's different things that I would recommend, but we'll get into that here in a minute. Amber?
Objections as like, you mean in a transaction or
Yeah.
in like a prospect?
Let's go with prospect. Let's start from the beginning.
Objections like why you're not going to buy a house right now?
That's a big one right now. Yeah, that's a really big one.
And then past that and being like,
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yours is kind of connected to Savannah's. So let's kind of tackle those first. So why would someone pick you or even me over someone else? So our job is to demonstrate to them a certain level of skill, knowledge, expertise, and what I call love and care, right? I try my best not to be transactional. I try my best to be more in the moment, really asking them questions about what's important to them, where they want to be in the next 5 years even. I think Markel was present when I did that buyer presentation last week to a real live buyer. And they were like, yeah, we love the house. And I go, cool, that's awesome. But will you be able to sell this house in the next 3 to 5 years if you buy this particular house? And they're like, oh, we didn't think of that. Yeah, totally. So that was something that we had to overcome and kind of, I walked into the process of me personally as an agent. I don't look at things now. I look at things 5 years down the road, because hopefully you do a good enough job now, they're going to call you back and say, hey, Savannah, I'm getting ready to sell my house. I had a baby, I had 3 babies, my children left, whatever the case is, and I'm ready to do something different in my real estate life. And so you want to make sure that you did a good job today here, so that when that call comes in, you're like, oh, cool, we can sell your house, versus, well, I didn't tell you about the market conditions then, so you lost money, right? What do you do then? So that's an objection for sure to have a conversation with. So, and then also like, why should I buy now, right? Why is this a good time? And so here's how I explain it. My explanation is rates are up here, house prices are here. When rates come down, house prices go up. So that house price you're looking at now, let's say 500, if the rate comes down, that house is not going to be like 575, 580. So do you want to have a better interest rate, or do you want to pay less? 6, half a dozen, it's all the same. It's really no different. So either you pay the market rate, right, and have a payment of, let's say, $2,500 here, Or the rate comes down, but then you pay more for the house, your house payment's exactly the same. Nothing's going to change. So that's the conversation we got to have with them about, hey, this is what that looks like, and that's called education. Okay. And these two are tied in. Objections is communication. Now we're communicating with our buyers, our sellers about how to effectively not only make this transaction good and smooth and win-win for everybody, but going forward also, what does that look like, right? Any questions so far? No?
Yes.
Yes, ask, please.
Okay, why, if the price is 500 and the rate is 7, why is the price 575 when the rate comes down?
Because when the rate comes down, more buyers enter the market, a lot more buyers. So what's happening right now is the rate is high, so there's a lot of buyers who are like, nope, I'm gonna wait. Or they're literally on the fence of like, well, I could, but should I? I'm not sure. So that's where we come in. But to answer your question plainly, it's because if, when the rates were at like 3%, 3.5%, there was a feeding frenzy. I mean, we were having multiple offers and it was nuts. Now the rate's at, close to 7, maybe even a little bit more than 7. There's not that feeding frenzy. There's no more multiple offers. Houses are sitting for a little bit longer. So that's the disparity that I try to communicate to the buyers, because they only hear what they hear from a media source. Let us be the experts. Let us be the experts on the ground. This is what's happening, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, and here's how we're going to overcome that. Here's what I'm going to do to help you get through this stage of that process. Is that a good enough answer?
Yes, perfect,
Cool.
thank you.
All right. Anything else? Anybody? Bueller? Okay. So another objection that I'm really facing right now, and by the way, not only am I doing this piece, but I'm also an actively selling agent. So I'm on the ground all day long. I talk to sellers, I talk to buyers all day long. So I'm very well versed on how to communicate with the people. So the other objection I'm really seeing right now is, okay, so the house is priced at X. Will the seller contribute a certain dollar amount to get the house, to buy down the rate? I mean, I see it across the board with every buyer that I'm dealing with, and it's a conversation that I have with my sellers as well. It's like, hey, Mr. Seller, this is where the buyers are. This is where the market's doing. Are you financially capable of doing a $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 concession to help the buyer buy this house? So that's a really good one. So let's take a few minutes and role play that real quick. Who wants to be my partner in this? Huh?
I said I'll try.
You'll try? Okay, that's a good one. Okay, so I'm the agent. You're the homeowner right now, okay? So the conversation is we're going to put your house on the market for $600,000, and I'm going to explain to you now how and why this buyer concession is really important, okay? So Amber, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. So we've established that the pricing is going to be around $600,000. How much do you owe on the house?
300,000.
300, okay. Now, are you planning on using all that money to buy the next place that we looked at? Or tell me more about that.
I was going to
All of it?
use all of it.
Okay, got it. That's a great idea. But what I recommend is I always recommend to have a little certain amount of money just in the bank afterwards, only because, life happens, right? Your car might break down. The next place might need you might want to repaint the house or just whatever. I always say keep, $50,000, $60,000 on the side just for that, right? How's that sound to you?
Good.
Yeah? Is that okay? Yeah, okay. And then the other piece I wanted to really talk to you about today was also where we are in the market right now. Buyers are asking for seller concessions. Have you heard that term?
No.
Okay, let me explain that to you. So what a seller concession is you are essentially going to help this particular buyer buy your house. What does that mean? That means that the buyer is going to say, well, I love your house. I'm going to pay you full price. I'm going to give you full price. I'm not going to negotiate that. But in return, what I need, Mr. Seller, is going to be 2.5% to 3% of the purchase price to buy down my interest rate so I'm not killed in the 7% market. So on a house like yours, and I'm just using rough numbers, I don't know because I haven't done the math. but let's just say on a house like yours, if they ask for 3%, it's roughly about $12,000. Is that something you can stomach?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Be it difficult.
Yeah.
Be a difficult seller, say no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't wanna give away 12,000.
Yeah. I hear you. So, let me ask you this: if you decide not to, which is perfectly your right, are you okay with then keeping your house on the market for a little bit longer? Because what I'm seeing is a lot of buyers and buyers agents, that's the norm right now. And it's fine that you don't want to participate, totally okay with that. But the trade-off is that your house may be on the market a little bit longer, and if it stays on the market a little bit longer, someone's going to beat you up on the price later. So pay now or pay later. It's kind of the same. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's go down that road then. So how did that feel for everybody? Was that kind of easy? Was it like, ooh, scary conversation? No? Is that something you could do? Okay.
Just explain to them what's gonna happen.
That's all it is. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to give you the information and then let you be the decider because it's your money. It's your money, it's your house. I'm just here as a guardrail. I'm making sure you don't get sued and you don't go bankrupt. That's it. I'm just here to make sure that all those things stay in place. So that was a good one. Thank you very much. Let's go with Savannah. Okay. So I'm going to be the homeowner now. You convert me. Tell me why it's good for me to shell out $12,000 for somebody else.
Okay, well, so your house is on the market and it's looking like it's gonna go for 500,000.
Okay.
But the market is a little bit different now than it was a couple of years ago. So
What do you mean by different? Like what's different now?
well, the interest rates are higher.
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So a lot of buyers are asking for seller concessions.
Hmm.
Have you heard of that?
I kind of hear things, and my friends who have sold houses in the last few months have said that, they had to cough up some money to help the buyer. So, but explain that to me.
Yeah, so the seller concessions, it's helping the buyers get into the house quickly, so your house is staying on the market for a shorter period of time. Whereas if you were to not give the seller concessions, your house might stay on the market longer.
And so, first of all, how much money are we talking about? And secondly, what's that money going to be used for to help the buyer buy this house?
So with your house, it's looking like $12,000 is the average, and that helps the buyer buy down the rate so that they're able to get in more quickly, and you can get your house sold quicker as well.
Ah, okay. So it's a rate buy down. Got it. Okay. And what did you say was $12,000?
About 12,000. We'd have to do the numbers for sure, but that's
Yeah.
the average.
That's kind of a big number. So what if I said, well, I'll do like, I don't know, $6,000?
Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you feel the most comfortable with. But whenever you do lower that, it might be harder for the buyer. So it's something we can definitely talk about as we go down the road.
Okay. And when would you offer that? Is that something that you offer now, as you put the house on the market, or is that something that you would bring up later, or do you even bring it up? Is that something the other agent brings up?
I think we bring it up as it's necessary information. I think if the buyers need it, then we bring that.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't know. I don't know if we would bring that up right away or if that is
Yeah.
information we would keep.
I'm still in roll, so I'll handle that here in a second. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not crazy about it, but let's I don't know. Let's try the 6K and let's see how it goes. Because I mean, look, I need every penny to buy that next house because I'm selling mine for $5,000. The next house I'm looking at is at $980, and so I want to be able to make sure that I'm not killed with this $10,000 a month payment, right?
Yeah,
So.
and I think, with the money that you will be making from the house, you'll have a really nice down payment. You'll get to save some for yourself anyways. And then, we can help it move along quickly, but that would be up to you if you'd rather keep your house longer or get more for your house.
Got it. Okay. Now, here's a different question. So I know you said that we should list it at 500. What about if we listed it for more, to cover that cost.
We could list it for more, but you know, the comps in your area are going for that.
Mm.
The houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer, so I think it'd be a better decision to price it to sell and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced that $15 or $12 or $15,000 more is going to affect the appraisal or the comps or anything like that. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Just say no.
No, I think we should definitely price it to sell so
Mhm.
that, you know, we have more offers, because right now it's, you know, like I said, it's not like it was 2-3 years ago. Where
Yeah.
we had multiple offers.
That's when I bought this house.
Right.
Yeah, so I remember.
I definitely changed.
Yeah, whew, okay, all right. Okay,
Ultimately, your decision to make now.
yeah, okay, well, I appreciate that, and, you know, I mean, you're the expert, so I'm gonna listen to you, and we'll go from there. Okay, cool, yay, good job, yay. How did you feel doing that?
Well, I feel like I don't know the answers.
That's okay, because that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here. So all the things that you were unsure about, we'll address those here in just a minute, okay? So yeah, that was good, but you felt kind of normal. I mean, from when I first met you to now, I feel like you've improved like 80%. I mean, you're way more comfortable, you're way more confident, and you're kind of like following the lead of whatever I say, because that's kind of how this is, right? Whatever the buyer and seller says is the next question, is the next question, is the next statement. Yeah, I mean, if I was just an average person on the street, I'd be like, yeah, you're my girl. I got it. Cool. You know, I mean, you made me feel comfortable. You kept telling me that it was my money and it was my decision, and that gives me the power. So that's a good thing. So good. I'm glad. Markel, you want to take a stab at this?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Sure.
Pick yes.
Sure.
Okay, you want to be the buyer, the homeowner, or you want to be the agent?
I will be
Be
homeowner.
be the agent. Be the agent.
Easy one.
Yeah, I'm like, let's see, be the agent. Okay, all right, sell me.
Hi, Faisal.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, Markel. Thank you.
Good. So I was just looking over everything. It looks like your home is coming in at $600,000. So that's a price to sell.
Okay.
I wanted to let you know that right now it is a seller's market, but there is still a lot of seller concessions that are going out. So meaning buyers are coming to the table but are needing either a lower rate, so the seller's concession would help with that, or they don't have all the money for either the down payment or the closing costs. So
Okay.
these seller concessions really are helping out the buyers right now. Yours right now is looking at like $15,000 is kind of what they're
Whew.
asking.
So wait, you're saying to me, I, as the homeowner, have to shell out $15,000 to help someone buy this house? Because when I was buying, you know, I coughed up an extra $40,000 just to buy this house. And I get it, the market was different, but you know,
Yes.
15, that's a lot.
Yeah, right now there's a lot of the buyers are kind of holding on, so you don't have like the fight, I guess, against 4 other buyers, and so that's probably what you are doing. Were you up against a couple other buyers?
So there's no more multiple offers out there? There's no more like line out the door Saturday morning waiting to see my house?
I mean, there might be a couple offers, we'll see, but there's definitely not like 3 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
There was 15 offers on one home, and you're 50,000 over the asking price.
I know. All right, and so like, what's the benefit for me to do this? Like, is it what's the upside?
You'll be able to sell your home a lot quicker. So really, in the long run, if you choose to not do the seller concessions, your home might sit for a little bit longer. But if it does sit, you'll get a buyer coming in saying, why has it sat? And they'll come to you with a lower price anyway. So you can either do the $15,000 in seller concessions. Your home could possibly sell a lot quicker, or it can sit on the market for a little bit longer, and you never know, you might have a buyer say, well, it's sat for X amount of days, and they give you an offer $15,000 lower than what you're asking.
Okay.
So it's really personal preference on if you're wanting to get the home sold more quickly, or if you're a little bit more patient, but still in the end too, the buyers could ask for a lower price.
Is this something that you need an answer on today, or can I think about it?
You can definitely think about it. I believe for me, my preference, I guess, I wouldn't say, hey, there's $15,000 in seller concessions. I would wait for the buyer to ask, because the buyer could come back and say, hey, I really only need 1% or 1.5%, and it might just be $5,000 versus 15,000. So I would definitely list it as what the good selling price.
Okay.
And then I would wait for the buyers to kind of come in and just see what seller concessions they're needing, because it might not be the full 15,000.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So here's a different question. You said 600 for purchase price. I mean, what about if we raise the price like 15,000, like go to 615 to cover that cost?
I personally wouldn't do it, just because it kind of takes out some buyers that are in certain areas. You have people who are like, nope, I'm tapped out at the 600,000.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you raise it to 615, you might lose track
Wow.
on some of those buyers.
Yeah.
So that's just my preference.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get back to you tomorrow on that. Let me talk to the wife and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay. So what did we learn from this exercise, you guys? What's the takeaway? And then we'll address those issues.
I get nervous talking about it.
Yes, there's that. What else?
Education is huge.
Yeah.
Offering as much education as you can to the clients, that's important.
Education, communication, everything is the same. So you are 100% right. I would argue that as realtors, we don't really sell homes. We educate and we communicate, and we are connectors. That's what I've been telling myself and other agents and my clients for probably close to 20 years now, where I go, I haven't sold a home in 15 years. I connect you. I take you to places that you want to see, and you are the ultimate decider. So yes, you are correct. What did you take away?
Well, I definitely took away, I guess I've heard of seller concessions,
Mhm.
but you kind of just explained it in more detail, like, hey, like, I mean, you'll have, I mean, the whole, sorry, I can't talk. The whole, like, advertising it, like, without seller concessions, like, who knows, you might get a buyer that doesn't need seller concessions and really sell it for that, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna sell it faster, and somebody asks about it, like, it's definitely, I feel like having those seller concessions is a good idea, but not like advertising it.
Okay. No, it does. It does. So here's what I'm going to say, because all three of you unanimously said the same thing, which is, let's not advertise it now. I was just looking for a cup. I'm just really thirsty, so I was going to grab some water. That'd be awesome. Thanks, man. So you all unanimously said, well, hold on. Let me ask the experienced agent what he would do. What would you do, Doug? Play that with me. Tell me it's going to cost me $15K.
All right, it could cost you in 80 days, if it stays on the market longer, more than 15,000. Let's wait for that customer to come first and present that offer. We want to look at everything and all the options.
Okay.
So if they've got an option to come down, for my seller to give him 15 grand, I'm going to talk to you about that. But in future respect, if it goes 80 days down the line, you're going to cost you more than 15 grand.
You think?
Yes. Look how many offers we could lose in those 80 days. We want to look at the first, quickest, best scenario. We want to look at this contract all the way through.
Yeah, I understand what you're telling me, Doug, but here's the thing, though. I'm not sure that I want to give my house away either. I mean, I put brand new carpet down 5 years ago.
We got to look at the comps, we got to look at RPR.
I've actually heard that, by the way. Brand new carpet 5 years ago. Or brand new carpet in 97. I've heard that one too. Yeah. Right. Okay, go ahead.
So, I want to wait and see what that contract looks like. We're not going to, drop.
Thanks, bud. Okay.
Drop close before we even find out what's going on. Let's wait for that thing to come to the table. But keep in mind, that house stays on the market 80 days, you're going to lose, quite a bit more than 15 grand.
Okay. And is this an answer that you need now, or can I wait a few days on this?
Right. Well, I'd like you to make a decision right now so that you can, tell the wife exactly what's going on, and we can put this on the market tonight.
Yeah, but it's my 15,000 and it's a lot of money. So I think I'd like a couple days and I'll get back to you.
Okay? I'd like to see you make a decision today so I can market it tomorrow, put it up for sale tonight.
Tomorrow.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm gonna be aggressive no matter what. I'm gonna say, hey, I'll go out and dig that post right now. Let's put it in.
Yeah.
All
So
kinds of people, and by the way, there is nothing for sale in the hood, in your neighborhood.
yeah.
Saturday, I'm putting a sign up. We're gonna have all kinds of action.
And so what happens if there's no action on Monday? If you put it up Saturday,
We'll have action.
will you bet me $15,000?
If I bet you 15,000,
Yeah. Okay.
let's be smart about it. But
Yeah. So we're going down a road here, and please, Doug, I'm not disparaging or anything. It's just I've completely removed myself from agent status into homeowner status, and I really felt like you were kind of beating me up. I kind of felt a little abused. So I'll come back to that. You want to say something, Michelle?
So I'm gonna say, when I'm talking to sellers, I wanna set expectations at the beginning, and I wanna say, I like visual, that's why like I'll do a cost sheet. So
Mm-hmm.
I would do a range, okay?
Right.
Here's the most I think we can get your home to appraise out with your new carpet 5 years ago.
From 97.
With your solar panels and have a lease on it for 20 more years, you know, all that
Right.
stuff, right?
We're gonna factor all of it.
So you're like, okay, here's the most we can probably get. Here's your cost sheet. If you get this much, and I'm not gonna put the closing cost in that cost sheet, but I am gonna put like $1,000 worth of repairs. I'm gonna put home warranty, because I want the seller to pay for that anyway. And I'll do the fees and everything. So I give them that cost sheet. I go, here's where you're at. And then based on whatever offer comes, we're gonna do a new cost sheet. But essentially, whatever they're asking, we're just gonna kind of, this is your guideline right here.
Okay.
So if they ask for 15,000 in closing, we just know it's basically gonna be the same thing minus the 15,000. But we're gonna redo it because we can always negotiate half of that back or whatever
Sure.
it is. But let's just get it on the market right now, because like what Doug said, there's nothing else on the market right now
Yeah.
in this neighborhood. So this is great, and we can start going door knocking and open houses. And so like basically whatever comes in front of you, we're gonna handle it right then, and we're gonna look at real numbers that day. So then you can make the best decision that day.
Okay.
I don't wanna put pressure on you because we don't even know, like maybe we'll get an offer with no concessions, maybe get a cash deal. By the way, can you be out in 10 days if the seller
Oof.
wants to move in right away? Like,
Wow,
I'm
that'd be a
all
tough one.
factors.
That'd be a tough one.
Okay, good.
Because I mean, it's a big house and we got a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, but I'm excited to sell your house. I think
Okay.
it'd be great, so.
Yeah. Okay. So just nobody got it wrong, by the way. There's no wrong in here. It's just different. Everybody has a different style. So for the brand new guys, you're gonna have to find what your style is. Okay. So in my early days, I was a Doug. I was like, today, right now, you got 7 minutes. Hurry up. That was me, and it worked. Since then, I've adopted a different strategy, and this also works. Is I'm more like, look, time is of the essence. However, it is your money. So I was taught many, many years ago that if I, as an agent, say something, it's bullshit. If the homeowner / buyer thinks of it, it's the greatest idea on the planet. So I've shifted my strategy to allowing them to tell me, allowing them to make the decision. So I'm always like, hey, what about that? What happens if? What does it feel like if in 80 days your house hasn't sold? Right? And I never say guarantee. Because then they're like, really? Put your money where your mouth is, buddy. So no, I never go down that road. But that's me. Maybe it's worked for Doug, and if it does, I say keep on with it, make that listing happen, and make it happen.
I'm also not betting 15 grand.
Well, but I mean, you said I guarantee you, and I'm like, well, if you're going to guarantee me, then hey, let's have a bet, you know? Because if you're asking me for 15, I'm going to ask you for 15.
Get people to the house Saturday. That's what I said.
Right, but what if nothing happens? Because that does happen. So I just want to.
Well, I'm going to have bullets, which I call bullets.
Uh-huh.
It's going to show your track, your house, and nothing for sale in this 1 mile radius.
Mhm.
That's going to be popular, and you got a neighborhood that's awesome. Schools are awesome. They're A+. Everything else, is, dynamite. Everybody wants to live in here. this is something I'm gonna show you as a helper to get it sold.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell every agent, there ain't nothing in here for sale.
Yeah.
So why do I need to give 15 grand to your buyer if I'm protecting my seller, which I would be? I'd be saying, hey, we're gonna wait a week. We're gonna, this house is very sought after. This neighborhood is sought after. We know where we're at. The comps are here. They're tight, and we're gonna go that route.
We do have those conversations when it's his wheelhouse. Like if it's at a neighborhood he's selling
Mhm.
constantly all the time, and he knows that, you can say that sometimes. But
Sure.
Sometimes it's a neighborhood we've never done listings in, but yeah, if it's Sun Lakes where he's selling constantly, and he knows like the tempo and how everything's going. Yeah, you sometimes do definitely.
What's the average price in Sun Lakes?
Oh, I would say probably 5.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if it works for you, man, who am I to say? If you're making money, do it your way. Absolutely, without a doubt, do it your way.
It depends on the feeling of where you're at as well. I mean,
Yeah, you have to go with the right.
Yeah, we're gonna wait until tomorrow, whatever.
Yeah.
I just soon put it on the market tonight and get that call, because how many times in my life, in 30 years that I've done this, if you put a listing in the next minute, bing, well, those couple years ago, you used to put a listing in and you got 5-10 calls right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show it tonight. Easy, Buffalo. Wait a while.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be open. I'll put a lockbox on it. Come out and look at it.
Okay.
You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. You're right, but I just took a
Yeah.
listing in Maricopa, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be sitting for a while.
Mhm.
Sold it in the first 10 days.
Oh, that one?
we
That
just-
agent came back, right? Because I was there when she came back.
Yes,
So,
we sold that
good.
house. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. But the first showing was within 24 hours.
Mhm.
And I thought that market was like flooded.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that price point was actually pretty good. I was like, wow.
Right. But did you promise them that you're going to sell it in 24 days or? Okay. That's what I was getting at. I never promise anything.
He's talking from like the
Yeah.
neighborhoods he's working in constantly. I don't know
Okay.
how he's thinking.
Got it. Okay. So we kind of got off track there.
Faisal, I got a question.
Yes. Ask.
Okay, how about, when I've done asking for concessions in the past, we often ask for more than we need,
Okay. Yeah.
So how about going back to the other agent or even the lender and saying, okay, how much do these guys really need?
Yeah. Yeah. So that is something that is like a in process, what I call. So like when you get that offer, right? So let's just say it's at 500, you got the offer, they want 3% concessions. That's when I would make the call to the lender, to their lender, and say, hey guys, realistically, because my seller's really tight on this, what's the least amount that my seller can give up to get your buyer into this property without, so it's a win-win for everybody. And then let them answer that question. That's not something that I would broach up front because we don't know. I have no idea what the buyer's going to ask or anything like that. So to piggyback on what you guys were saying about let's not put it in right now, that's a good idea. But the way I like to do it, and I think these guys will agree to it, is that I don't put a dollar amount in the listing. I just put seller will consider participating in seller concessions. And that way the buyer's agent's like, okay, good, we have a shot here. Versus if you don't put anything, then it's like, let's move on to the next house. Let's move on to the next house. Because that's how I shop. That's how buyers shop. It's like, let's see who's going to give me what, right? Because that's where it is.
I didn't do that on this last one, and I don't always do that, but I think I feel like I'll do that more if I feel like it's a property that I might have a hard time
Yeah,
selling,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not enticed
For
by
sure,
something.
for sure.
Yeah, you're right. You don't put an amount, you just say we're open.
Correct.
And honestly, that was the funny thing too, on that property, when you came in, you were doing the, the same thing we're doing here.
Yeah.
The communication stuff with the agents. Honestly, there were so many of us there. And that kitchen, you hit it on the nail on the head when you're like, I feel like the kitchen's a little cluttered. And I was like, it really totally was. Like, I would, in fact, this next week, if we hadn't had an offer, I was gonna go back and tell them.
Take a break. Exactly. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's too much stuff. So it was just funny because you're right. Sometimes you're just like, ugh,
Well, and I think the overreaching concept here I want to really portray is that even though we are the experts, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen. So, I mean, perfect example. That kitchen was cluttered, but she sold it anyway.
and there was 12 of us standing
Well, and there's like 9 guinea pigs in another room that people are looking at. So I would have done that listing completely differently, but you didn't have to, and so it worked. So we don't know.
That was like the worst house. I even said that to Markel. I'm like, this is one of the worst houses to do an open house on because it was definitely not like a model home ready home. It was not decorated like that. It was a single, guy, but
But it worked.
it happened.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I like to put in there is just to put, something blanket like seller will consider. So it's not a, yes, seller will do for sure, and then I also throw in there couple of other caveats. Seller will consider concessions if, with a full price offer. Seller will consider concessions if closed, and then I put a 30-day out. So right now we're at August, the middle of August, I might say, if closing by September 30th, seller will consider concessions.
Well, and then
Give them a little incentive.
In the private remarks, you could also say buyer's agent bonus if sold in
Correct.
the next 30 days. Instead of doing concessions, maybe that listing or that seller will be, given a $5,000 bonus to a buyer's agent.
Correct. I've done that many, many, many times.
Works really well.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Where does that come from when you do that? Like you put that,
The seller, yeah, you put it in your seller cost sheet. It's gonna come out of his, because instead of them, really pushing the price down a little bit or whatever, it's just gonna be full price for sure, and then maybe they won't get as many seller concessions.
I've also called the listing agent many, many times representing a buyer and say, hey, where are we at on this? How do we feel about an all cash full price offer, but $15,000 on concession? We need some help here. We love the house, we'll do whatever.
Right.
And we'll get closed or whatever, as long as we negotiate and get something down, let's do that.
That's a wonderful idea. I do the same thing, but now we're talking about like 5 steps down here. I'm just talking about how do we get the seller to agree to it? How do we get the seller in this moment to say, okay, I agree with you. You're the expert, and I'm going to trust you on this. So that's the box we're in right now. But I do that every single time I show a house. I call the listing agent. I go, hey, is your seller even willing to? Because if not, that's okay. I'm going to show something else. Right. Because on particular buyers, they have to have it. I cannot show a house in which a seller's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. Cool, thanks, see you, bye. Okay, but yeah, it doesn't matter at that point. Yeah. So in the box right now is how do we get that seller to say okay? So I'm going to switch gears now, and then I'm going to go into a buyer. So on the buyer side, the buyer already knows or should know from the lender what they need as a down payment. Okay. So the first step, I'd say probably like the first 3, maybe 4 steps when you first initially meet a buyer is at some point, okay, let me back up. Let me just tell you how I do it, and then we can talk about it. So I just met you yesterday, right? And I don't know you, you don't know me. So first of all, we're going to do what I call a very informal buyer consult. We're going to get together at a house. You're going to tell me which house you want to see. I'm going to show you one house. And in that house, I'm going to get to know you a little bit. I'm going to tell you about my background, how many years I've been doing it, blah, 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 blah. And then in the same respect, I'm going to be getting information from you. Like, tell me why you chose this house. What was magical about this place? Oh, I really like the pool, whatever it is, right? So I'm building a rapport and I'm building a bio on who you are so that the next meeting we have, I have a very clear picture of where I want to take you and how I'm going to get you there with me. So that's the first step. And in that second, maybe third meeting, it's like, oh, by the way, do you have a lender? No, you haven't talked to anybody about money at all?
I talked to one person, but he's not my lender.
Ah, okay. And tell me what that conversation looked like.
I asked him, I showed him some stuff, and he told me this is about how much you can afford.
Okay. And they went over payments and rates and...
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Is this a person that you are going to continue to do business with, or shall I send you 1 or 2 more?
I don't think so.
He was kind of mean. Ugh. Sorry to hear that. That's not good. Yeah, that's not good. Okay. So you're open to me sending you a couple other people that I work with, people that, I trust. Okay, great. I'll do that this afternoon then. So I segue right into that. And at that point, I can continue that meeting, or that's the end of that, because there's nothing more that I can do at that point, because I need to know where she is financially. I just showed her a $700,000 house just because she wanted to see it. She might only be a $400,000 buyer, but I'm not going to tell her that. I mean, it's not like it's beneath me or anything. I'm still going to continue to do business with her. I just can't show her those houses. I have to show her the houses in her price range, right? So that's a really important conversation to have. And again, comes back to communication. We got to ask the hard questions. Some people are like deathly afraid of like, I don't want to ask, but you have to. And it's got to be sooner than later, because I, as a brand new agent 28 years ago, made all these mistakes. I was the idiot that was like, yeah, get in my car, let's go see some houses. And I take them to my lender a week later, and next thing you know, they can't qualify for a bag of chips. And I'm out time and money, so.
What kind of questions do you do to pre-qualify your buyers before they even talk to the lender? Because I'm sure you sell the client to the lender too, and you go like, this is where she's at,
yeah.
this is what's going on. So how do you do that?
So I don't get super deep or personal financially because I don't feel like it's my, I want to set the precedence up front that I'm the house guy, and then the money person is somebody else, so that they're not asking me money questions, because that's not my wheelhouse. I don't know rates, I don't know payments, I don't know any of that stuff. So I ask them I do. So what I ask them is, I say, so how long have you been shopping, Savannah?
About 3 months.
3 months. And do you have any money saved up, and how much?
A little bit. In my 401k, I have some money that I wanted to use.
Without being offensive, can I ask you how much?
I think like 15,000.
Okay. Are you planning on using all of it or part of it?
Part of it.
How much?
Maybe like half, maybe a little bit more than that.
Like maybe 9,000
Yeah.
ish? Okay. All right. So you have $9,000 to work with. Okay, great. And what are you paying in rent now?
2,000.
Okay. What's a number that you can realistically stomach without going broke and not putting gas in your car and not eating for a week?
I want to stay somewhere close, maybe like 2,400.
Okay. So is that like a top?
Yes.
Okay, got it. The reason I'm asking you this is that so when I talk to my lender about you, I can give her just a quick overview of kind of where you are, and that'll kind of help her to find a program that might best fit you. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's kind of where, and then I end it right there.
I would do too,
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to know more,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be the money person.
That gives you, because you basically know now what price point you need
Correct.
to be in, because, yeah. it's
Correct.
awesome, and you just check
Yeah.
it out, so.
And I always like to ask what they're paying now, because what they're paying now is what they're already comfortable with. So if they're like, well, I'm at 2,000, I'm okay paying 2,100. I'm like, okay, cool. Now we know, or whatever that dollar amount is, right? But I like to know. So that way I know exactly where I'm going with it. And when I call my lender, I'm like, hey, Savannah, she's got about $9,000 to work with, and she is comfortable around 2,400, first time buyer, call her, do your thing. So she has a little bit of idea when she talks to you what to do next and where to go with that. Okay?
So after that, would you tell the buyer, like, okay, that's great, I can send you my money now?
Correct. Yeah, I would, and I like to ask permission, because again, if they are okay with it, and if they want to do it, I just have learned, and again, this is just me, right? I've just learned that, again, I'm there for them. Like, no matter what they say, even if in my head I'm like, fuck, you're an idiot, but that's okay. I'm not going to verbally say that, but I'm like, wow. But I'm always on their page, even if it's something completely ludicrous. She will attest to this. I took her. So what I keep referring to is that last week I took Markel with me to a real live buyer presentation / showing, and then she went with me one more time with that same buyer, and then the buyer ended up buying something. So she's following this process, but in those 2 showings, I mean, this buyer was typical buyer, first time buyer. I mean, asked a lot of questions that, were kind of like stupid, but I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to be like, yeah, hey, of course we can talk about that. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm always on their page. I always meet them where they are. I never make them feel like what they're asking me is dumb. I never make it seem like I'm the expert. Trust me. It's like, no, we're working in this together. We are always in this together. Because if they like me, no matter what they buy, they're always going to stick with me. But if I make it oppositional, they're going to be like, man, why are we working with you? Like, this is not a good process. This doesn't feel good to me. because they may not say it to me then, but they're going to go home and they're going to tell their wife or their husband or boyfriend or whatever and be like, I don't know if we should use that guy. He was kind of rough. He was a little rough around the edges, and I kind of felt like he wasn't going to hear us. And I think going forward, I don't know that we should use him. So that's what I don't want to have happen.
You wanna fix them up, you're like a matchmaker, you wanna fix
Right.
them up with the right house, the right lender,
Correct.
the right title company, because, yeah, some people are high maintenance and.
Yeah.
Or they're just super sensitive to certain things.
Correct. Yeah. I'm finding in today's market that a lot of people are very, very educated, meaning they have done their homework and they know just as much as I do. I mean, maybe not the whole thing, but they know prices, they know neighborhoods, they know interest rates, they know know about seller concessions. So when I'm telling them, they're like, oh yeah, I already know about that. So it's kind of good, but it's a little bit more difficult because what they think they know a lot of times is not the correct way or the correct answer. They just heard it somewhere, or someone told them about it, or they read it on Facebook, or something, and that's their belief system now. So part of our job is to go in there and help them to correct that belief system of, yes, the seller is going to help you, but this isn't a free-for-all. Okay? You can't kick the door down and say, well, I want $20,000, and that's just the end of that. We have to win-win. Everybody has to win in this. So that's kind of how I handle that. The other thing I wanted to address is on the seller concession piece. I always give them a number, like we talked about, 12,000, 15,000, but then I also let it be their decision as well, because they might say, well, geez, that's a lot. Can we do half? Can we do a quarter? Whatever. And I go, yeah, we can certainly try that. But then I give them the other piece of, if you don't do it my way, and I don't say it that way. So I'm just going to say it. So Savannah, if we don't do the full 15, and I'm okay with that, by the way. This is your money, this is your house. I'm just here to help you. So if you don't offer the full 15 to this particular buyer, and this buyer goes away, are you okay with that?
Yes, I'd rather have more money.
Got it. Okay, and that's all right too. And so if this buyer goes away, and the next buyer doesn't show up for another month-ish, how's that work for you?
Wait a month.
Yeah? What about 2?
2 might be pushing it.
What about 3?
I'd rather not wait 3.
Yeah, I'd rather not wait 3 either, because it doesn't do me any good or you to have a for sale sign. I want a sold sign. I think you want a sold sign as well. So how about if we cut it down the middle, instead of 15, we go 7,500?
Okay.
Is that good?
75.
And that way we don't have to go to the 3 months or 2 months. We can kind of finish it up sooner than not. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how I do it, is I'm never in opposition of my clients, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Unless it's just so egregious. Like when I get oppositional, and even then I'm not super oppositional. It's more like let's have that conversation when they reach into my pocket for a commissionectomy. Because they do that, because they know what we make, and they're like, well, maybe you can pitch in the other half, and I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Let's have that conversation, right? But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Yeah, no kidding. People try all kinds of stuff, and I say, good for you for trying it, and then I go into a different spiel, which we'll tackle later. So far on the concessions, any questions or anything that you want to ask or add or put in?
So you're just preparing them for what's probably gonna come.
Correct.
So you get them already thinking about it.
Correct. Yeah, I'm setting the expectation for when it happens, because in this market, it's more of a when versus an if. It's very rare that a buyer's going to show up and be like, yeah, I'll just buy your house. Sure, no problem. Give me nothing. I'm in. I mean, it's possible, but it's not likely, right? So no other questions on that?
And we should tell them that say like 7,500 or 15,000, it's not for sure, but that we put it in the contract as that they're considering it.
Correct. Yeah. So it's always a will.
You'll put the amount in there?
No, not in the MLS.
You're just leaving it still that you're considering.
Right. Yes, but I've gotten her from a no to a 7,500, so that's a win. I didn't get the full 15, which I'm pretty sure it's going to get there, but at least I got her to half. And then when that buyer shows up and says, I need 12, then we'll bridge that gap as we go. But at least I've got her thinking that, hey, it's going to cost me $7,500 to sell this house to this particular buyer, whoever that buyer is. And then I also set the expectation of, what does it look like a month, 2? And you stopped me at 2, and I went further. I'm like, how about 3? I mean, why not? That's my way of making you feel stupid, but not really. you know, doing it in a loving, kind way. Okay, so let's move on to. You guys haven't had this happen yet, but you will once you get further into it. I call it a commissionectomy. You guys know what that is?
I'm assuming when somebody starts questioning your commission and how low you'll take a commission, I guess.
Right. Yes, that is exactly right. So I don't know why. I know when, but I'm not 100% sure why we went from a 6% 3 and 3 idea. Even in like 2019, it was that way. 2018 to 2.5, 2.25, 2%. I'm like, huh? It's just a mind-boggling thing for me. So, but I mean, for me personally, I try my damnedest to always pay the broker, the other agent, 3%, because I think it's just a goodwill thing. I think it's karmically good, and I think it's also going to have more activity because everyone's at 2.5. But can you imagine someone, your buyer's agents? You're going to look and you're going to, out of the 5 houses you're going to show your buyer, 4 of them are at 2.5% to you, right? And then there's going to be 1 at 3%. How do you feel about that 3% listing? You're probably going to want to show it first, right? Because you're like, more money to me. I mean, that's kind of how it's, the mentality. You're not going to say it out loud to the buyer. You're not going to say it out loud to anybody. You're just going to keep it in yourself. But that's what that incentive is. So instead of offering a bonus to the agent, just give them 3%. It's the same thing, but it looks better, right? So what a commissionectomy is when you're doing a listing presentation and the seller says, well, I talked to RE/MAX 2 days ago, and RE/MAX said they'd do it for 4% total, right? How do you handle that? There's a way to handle that. Anybody just want to take a stab at it, just dry? Evo.
Use RE/MAX then.
Huh?
That's what I'd say. I'd say use RE/MAX then.
No, don't do it that way. Don't do it that way.
That's what I'd do.
You've never done this before.
Yeah, no.
I guess you would go into the whole, you pay, well, I guess you pay less for less.
You mean you get what you pay for?
You get what you pay for, I
Okay.
guess, was what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say, and then maybe even, they might not be able to sell it as much as I can. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're nibbling around the edges, so I know what you're saying. So let's hold that right there. Savannah, any ideas on that?
I would sell myself. I'd let them know that I'm gonna be with them through the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Detail oriented, and I agree. I think that I would be able to get more for your house than maybe they will, and I have more resources, and hopefully we'll be able to sell it quicker as well.
Okay,
So end up costing you less in the long run.
got it.
I would also say that RE/MAX is a big company. They look at you as just a number, maybe, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Barrett's more of like a
Boutique.
boutique, yeah. And I don't know. I would say we pay more attention to our clients
Yeah.
rather than just a big number at
Yeah.
RE/MAX or CenturyLink or whatever.
Okay.
That's a
I'm sorry, not CenturyLink. What is it? Century 21?
Yeah.
Sorry. Not
Yeah.
CenturyLink.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, that's okay.
I was like, you're doing real estate now too? Dang.
Markel, ideas?
I don't know. I would probably just try to sell myself versus say you get what you pay for, because then if they end up going with you and you agree on the 4%, they're thinking that you're gonna half-ass the job and not do 100%. So I have no clue, but I would probably just say I am going to go above and beyond on everything, and whenever you meet me, I'm here just really sell myself.
Okay,
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
got it. And who's on the Zoom? Dean?
Yeah, Dean, yeah.
Dean?
Ashton, yeah.
Okay. Dean, how would you handle that?
Just got back.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I stepped away from.
Oh.
I just got back.
Okay. Afton, can you respond? Or are you in the middle of something?
I
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear the?
Numbers keeps flashing all over the room. What's the question?
The question is, how do you handle the objection, or you don't know yet, but I'm just kind of putting it out there dry to all the new agents about what you would say if a seller says, I talked to Remax a couple days ago and they'll do it for 4%, and we're trying to get 6%. So 4 versus 6, and they're like, well, somebody else will do it for less. How would you handle that?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, let's do this exercise then. You have everybody in here has a job, another job. So let's just say everybody works 40 hours a week, and you're making $25 an hour. Okay, let's just play that game. And your boss comes to you and says, I want you to work 50 hours, but I want you to do it for $19 an hour. What do you say to that?
That makes no sense.
Okay, now we're in the game. Now we're in the game. See, when I touch your money, well, it's all your money. So, okay, guys, I'm gonna ask you for a shift here. Stop thinking about your life as an employee. You are now business owners. So when someone says, I got somebody else that'll do it for 4, this is your money. This is how you're gonna put food on the table, gas in the car, pay for daycare, pay for all the stuff that you wanna have in your life. So you have to protect your own money, okay? So here's what I would do. Here's how I do. So I'm going to be the agent. Who wants to be the homeowner? Oh, yeah, Evo. Okay. Okay, tell me what you can tell me.
So 6% seems like a lot. I had a friend that's an agent. He said he would do it for me for 4%.
Got it.
So.
Okay. And which company is your friend with?
I don't remember what company he's with.
Ah.
He's just been an agent for a long time.
What's a long time?
Since I've known him, and I've known him for 3 years.
Got it. That's not really a long time, but you know. And I would say that. No, because I have an agenda here, and my agenda is to demonstrate to you that I'm better than your friend. And that's why I deserve that money. So, okay. Yeah, man, I totally understand that, and I'm on your page. Evo, you said you work at Intel. You're an engineer there, right? Yeah. Okay. So I have some other friends clients that work there as well. So I think you guys are making like 120 grand a year. Am I right on that?
It's actually
150. Okay. And how many hours a week do you work?
I work 80 hours a week.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Whew, man. So how would it feel to you if your higher ups came to you and said, Evo, you do a great job. We love what you do. But for the next 2 months, we want you to work 100 hours. And man, because of budget cuts and stuff like that, we can only pay you 125. How does that feel?
I'd find another job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what you're asking me to do. And it doesn't feel good. So I would ask you to give me a few more minutes to show you the value of what I do and how I do it and why I do it. And maybe that'll start to kind of concrete in your mind about why I'm asking you for more money. Can we do that?
Yeah. I mean, I know what stuff you're going to do because you kind of already went through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't pay more than 6. It has to be closer to 4.
Closer to 4. Okay. And
It just wouldn't make sense for me to do that.
Yeah. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how stuck are you on that 4 number?
For 1 is my friend,
Mm-hmm.
so that's another reason why.
Okay.
And my mom sold this house with him. So,
Got it.
I know he does a good job.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, I liked you a little bit more, and we were kind of like in the moment, and you were there, so it made sense to kind of go with you. But I mean, if you'll do it for 4, it makes more sense to me to do that.
Got
But
it.
I mean, if you'll do it for 4, then that'd be great.
So for you, it's less about service and going forward and getting the right agent. It's more about pricing. Am I hearing that properly?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to say one thing, and if it resonates with you, great. If not, we'll have a different conversation. But if I can't negotiate my income, Evo, I'm not going to do a great job negotiating yours.
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Can we have a different number then?
Yeah, we could.
5.
5. Let's do 4.5 and we'll do it right now. Good to go.
I'm glad that we're negotiating, first of all. That means that we're still in the game.
I like it.
Thank you.
I'll give you another 0.5%.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's do this. Let me think about it, because I'm not sure that I want to do it for 4.5. Only because the level of service that I bring, you said your friend was 3 years?
Yeah.
28 years. So I know just a little bit more. And so part of my job, part of what I do for all my sellers is to protect them from any potential hazards. And so because of that long time in the business, I can foresee it. Not that I have some crystal ball, but I have a very good idea of, this is about to happen. Let me step in right now and make sure that that doesn't happen. So that'll protect you, that'll protect your money, that'll protect the house, et cetera, et cetera. So in my opinion, I think that's worth another 0.5%. There's that. The other piece to this puzzle is that because of my level of service, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we sell your house not only for the most amount of money, because the more money you make, the more money I make. We're tied in this together, right? It's like a little micro marriage. So the more money you make, the more money I make. And also, I think you had said because you work for Intel, you're getting transferred to their facility in, was it Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Oregon. And you have to be there by October 1st. We don't have a whole lot of time. Time is ticking. So I'm going to make sure that we get it done quicker and faster and for the right price. And I'm also convinced that that's worth another 0.5%. So can we do 5?
How about we do this?
Tell me.
I'll pay you a full 3%.
Uh-huh.
And then we just give the buyer agent 1%. Or 1.5%. So you're going to get a full 3% because you are doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And the buyer
Well,
agent,
thank you for
you're just
that.
bringing me a buyer.
Well,
You're going to
yes.
do most of the work after that.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something there, but the social norm is we have to pay them at least 2.5%. I mean, because if we don't,
But you're going to
it's
sell it really good.
huh?
You're going to sell it really good.
Sure, but I can sell it to a rock. But if that rock is like, I'm not interested, I can't do anything about it. So we're all working in unison. So when you're at work, are you only when you're on a project at Intel? How many people are involved in that process?
Well, I'm the department head, so there's 10 people.
Right. There's 10 people. There's at least 7 in this process. There's me, the buyer's agent, there's you, there's the buyer, there's the lender, there's the home inspector, there's the appraisal, and then there's a title company. That's 8 people already. And that's just kind of right now. There might be a few more showing up. So everybody has to kind of get a piece of this little pie. So I hear what you're saying. It's just a little flawed. And that's okay because you don't do real estate. I do real estate. I wouldn't pretend to even know anything about Intel or what you do at work. But I know that you're worth what you're worth and you're getting it. And I think that's great. I'm worth what I'm worth, and I'd like to get it as well.
You're getting it 3%.
Yeah, but I want to get the full 5 so that I can split it with the other agent evenly.
I just don't see why can't the buyer pay their own agent?
They can. But I think that if we go down that road, now you're kind of cutting out a huge segment of the agents who would be showing your house. That's not what you want, is it? I mean, you want everyone to see your house.
Are they allowed to not show my house?
No, that would be a violation of some type. But, they can't say it out loud, Evo. It's like, okay, you're a consumer. You buy stuff, right? Right? Okay. So let's just say you're buying a car. And you're looking at a particular 7 Series at BMW Chapman versus at a different dealership. Well, BMW at Chapman, they've got that particular car at $24,000, right? And you're like, okay, I could do that. But then over here, they have it at $22,000. It's $2,000 less, but it's not a guarantee that it's a great car. If you buy it from BMW, you have a little bit more guarantee because they look at the car more deeply, they inspect it more deeply. Over here, they're just trying to unload it. So it's not necessarily always about the pricing, it's about the process. And I bring a better process.
So you think that if we offer the buyer's agent more,
Yes, 2.5% at least.
That would put me at 5.5, and you only wanted 5.
It would be 5, 2.5, 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about it.
Okay, that's fair. How about I call you tomorrow at 10 and you let me know which direction you want to go in?
Yeah.
Is that good?
No, that sounds good.
Okay, cool. How did that feel for everybody?
Looks great.
Okay.
Dissecting. He really doesn't want to do your phone.
Yeah. I'm giving you a full. I'm giving you 3%.
Yeah.
When doing like a listing, does that happen way more than normal when you're kind of going back and forth, or do the sellers know kind of, okay, we're selling a home and we give a percentage and that's just what it is, or is it a lot of back and forth?
So it depends on the marketplace. Right now, the marketplace, there's not a whole lot of negotiation on that. It's kind of an understood concept. But when the market's really, really hot and they have this idea that they don't really need you, that's when this happens. Where they're like, well, I'm going to sell my house in like 15 hours, right? Why am I paying you $28,000? Right? So that's when you get, so the reason I like to practice this is because I'm giving you guys a tool belt and I want it to be filled with tools. You might only use that one screwdriver like 3 times in the next year, but you have it. You know how to use it. So when that seller's like, I'm only going to pay you this, you go, watch this. I know how to do that. That's what this is about. So this is not an everyday thing, because I've been through all these funky markets, man. Where people are like, nope, I'm not going to give you, anything. So I turn it back on them, and I kind of help them to realize that everyone's worth what they're worth. So what did you see? What did you not see? Like dissect that whole conversation in your heads. Go ahead.
I have a question for when you were selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a new agent and you can't say, I have 28 years of experience,
Yeah.
what would you say instead?
You would say, so okay, because I was a new agent, so let's have that. So you've already did same. Here, let's just do it, Evo. So you said your friend's been doing it for 3 years. So I'm with Barrett, Evo, and we have, I don't know, like 200 agents. And collectively, I'm going to go on a limb and say we've got like 200 years of experience. We got brand new agents all the way up to agents who are like 28, 30 years in the business. So these are all my resources. When I have an issue, I can go to any one of them, plus my sales manager, Michelle. She's amazing. She herself has been doing it for 20 years plus. So I have a lot of resources and a lot of information. And here's the other piece, Evo. Watch this. I have no other listings. If you decide to come with me, I will devote my life to you. I will make sure that I do the best job possible because you trusted me. And I want to give that trust back to you.
That sounds good. You said you're with Barrett?
Yeah.
No problem. Let's do it.
Because I bought a car from Barrett Jackson last year.
Yeah.
You're right. Let's do it.
No, that sounds good though.
Yeah, that's really good because I feel like people have been like when I'm talking, they're like, "Oh, how long?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "How do you like?"
This is my first year. This is my first year. That's what that sounds like. Who needs a bathroom break? Anybody? Okay, cool. Let's put this on pause for a few minutes.
We're actually done at 12. We got 15 minutes left.
Okay. Well, she's just gonna run to the bathroom real quick. Okay. So what did you see? What did you learn? What do you go? I would do it differently. Michelle?
Again, going back to that cost sheet that I'm sitting with my people in front of, I was giving something visual. I don't focus on the commission, I focus on their net. They're always looking at what they're gonna make because they've gotta go take that money and spend it.
Mhm.
So I would adjust the price a little bit and go, okay, maybe we need you to raise the price a couple thousand or whatever, and then that would compensate for the commission that they're stuck on, because I think they're stuck on the wrong number.
I would agree. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think you could use that as a tool, but I like the newer agent conversation, and I I understand people are concerned about being a newer agent, but I don't think you should be, because
No.
like he was saying, you have a team of people right now. Yes, I'm a newer agent, however, I actually am working hand in hand with 3 other agents with, have.
Who are my mentors? Yeah.
Experience, so we're all working this together, you're actually getting a team, and that goes back to why I have to charge a little bit more right now, because I have to give a split.
Right.
And just let them know that they're not gonna let me do anything wrong, in fact, I'm gonna have more support than, an older agent that can make mistakes or this or that,
Yeah.
so.
No, I think that's great. Yeah, when I was a new agent, I would capitalize on the fact that I was with the Vaughn Company, who was a big dog in the town. You know, I capitalized on the company, the company heads, and you know, in Albuquerque, small community, everybody knew everybody. So I was like, oh, you're with the Vaughn Company, cool, okay. So it was kind of an automatic in. But you know, being 21 and doing business with people twice my age, it was definitely challenging. It was definitely challenging, and I was nervous. But you know, you just got to get over it. I mean, you know, I can't say to you that I got every single deal I went to, but I got the majority of them. You know, and it was just a matter of, okay, practice, 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 and get really good at it so that when that time comes, you go, I know exactly what to do and how to do it. And I mean, this is just a class. We're going to continue this further and further and further until you are just, I know exactly how to handle that situation, you know?
Mindset has a lot to do with why people choose someone. Enthusiasm, confidence, and mindset. If you have that, we're gonna get this done, and we're gonna do all these things, we're gonna do open houses, I'm gonna put you on social media. If you have that can-do attitude, people wanna work with you.
Right.
They don't wanna work with someone lazy or chill or relaxed or someone that have been doing it for a long time that are jaded or, you know, they have all these little comments that they make, which people do as they get older, you know. So you guys have energy and you have youth on your side.
Yeah.
Use that, you know.
And I will just put this out there, and this is me personally saying this. So if you die, do I have to still pay you? Right. So if you die, do I still have to pay you then? Or can we just do the deal anyway? Right. The other thing that's a real pet peeve, and it's a personal thing of mine, is always dress nice, especially when you're going to meet customers, like all the time. Yeah, I know it's hot, you know, but just dress nice. You know, deal with it, because you want to set yourself apart, right? I mean, there are moments when it's like a friend that maybe you can be casual with, but if it's not, or if it's someone that you don't know very well, dress nice. Make sure you're well put together, because, I mean, I don't remember the last time I spoke to an attorney that was just wearing casual stuff. I mean, they're always, you know, wearing a nice shirt and tie, and I go, cool, you're the professional. I just gave you $9,000 for a retainer. You better look like you earned my money, right? We're in the same boat, you guys. And that's what I'm trying to change with you guys, is the perception out in the world is that we're kind of down here, and they can negotiate, they can push us around. I'm trying to change that for us, especially here at Barrett, which is we are not pushovers. We are really good at what we do. And I mean, if you notice when he said, well, you know, let's just do the deal now. And I'm like, no, I have to think about it. I'm not just going to be like, oh, I'll take 4.5, because what's going to happen is he's going to be like, I got him now. 2 weeks down the road, hey, you know, this, oh, hey, that. And he's just going to use me and abuse me, and it's just going to be crap down the road. So I want to set the rules up front, verbally and non-verbally, of, hey, I know more, and this is what I deserve to get paid. And if not, that's okay. Try Remax. Because I've told people, I'm like, you know what? Not in that way of like, see ya, but more like,
The list to sell or whatever those.
yeah, right. So I go, let's do this. I understand where you are financially, and I get it. But let's do this. Go with them. And if in 30 days, 45 days, it's not working, call me back. But just know that if you call me back, the price is going to go up to 5.5. If you do it now, we can keep it at 5, and you don't have to waste time. So I'll let that be your decision. We can do it now, or you can call me later, whichever works best for you. Which would you like to do, Evo?
We'll see how it goes over there, and then if anything, I'll call you.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, and that's fair. No.
It's been 10 more minutes, it's 6% now.
Yeah. No, I tell them, because I tell for sale by owners too. They're like, well, I'm going to go with so-and-so. And I'm like, cool. Call me when it's not selling. And I'll say it, because there's a time to be confident and arrogant. If the answer is no, you got nothing to lose anyway, right?
Well,
If
and sellers are demanding.
they are.
Personally, I know everyone in the Phoenix market loves doing listings. They're like, oh, that's really
I
nice.
love buyers.
I love buyers.
I love buyers.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
They're easier. You're educating all. They listen more. Sellers think they know everything. Sellers are tough.
Yeah.
You have to earn your money. from
Correct.
sellers. It's
And that's why I don't just I just don't give it away, because I have to work extra. Plus, here's what you don't know, and maybe you do, is that as soon as you take a listing, it costs you money. It costs you money to order signs. It costs you money to order pictures. So you're $300, $400, $500 in the hole in the first 36 hours, and that's your money. You've already spent it. You know.
I make my sellers pay for their own pictures.
Really?
I do.
Yeah.
And some agents have been like, "Do you do that?" I'm like, "I
Yeah.
do, only because I tell them they're your pictures. If you don't like me and you fire me, then guess what? You can take those pictures." But I did find out some of these professional photographers, they're only giving them license to use the pictures
Hmm.
from that listing agent, and I never knew that before.
I didn't know that either.
And I don't really think that's right, because I'm thinking if I paid for pictures
Mhm.
for my property, I don't wanna have to call back
Right.
to the photographer and say, "Can I spend another $50 to use them off with another listing agent?" But that's what they're saying they're doing, so
Hmm.
make sure you know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what their recourse would be, but that's what I've heard.
No clue. Yeah, I don't know.
But the pictures belong to the owner because how many times do they have professional photos and then they fire that listing agent and they wanna go with someone else? That listing agent doesn't have to give those pictures to the next listing agent.
Correct.
So that's why I make the sellers pay for it.
Yeah.
Plus it's memories. They own the home, they're gonna want the pictures.
Yeah. Well, I give them the pictures anyway, but I pay for it, part of my service. But again, she has her way, Doug has his way, Dean might have his way. That's my way. I like to not nickel and dime people. Because I'm a consumer, right? So when I go and buy stuff, I'm like, when you go to a restaurant, oh, this is my pet peeve, right? When you go to a restaurant, you're like, I want it this way. And they're like, well, it's a $9 upcharge. And I'm like, you know what? Just tell me it's $100. Just let me just have the whole thing, charge me the whole thing. Don't nickel and dime me and say, well, this is the price if you don't want it that way. That's the price if you want it that way. If you take off the lettuce, it's an extra 38 cents. I'm like, just tell me what the main price is and let's just go with that, right? So that's how I do it. I just tell them, I say, hey, hang on one second. My partner's lost. Can you respond to her?
Oh, she's in the building?
Yeah. So, there is no right or wrong way. You have to find a way that works best for you. And you have to find a way that's not only best for you, but effective. Okay? It might feel good to tell somebody, but it's not going to be effective. So you have to find the right way and make it effective for you and for the buyer, seller, whoever you're dealing with. Okay? So we are at the end of this class. Was this helpful and beneficial for everybody? What did you learn?